Hey guys, Dwayne here. Wanted to talk to you about fighting a smear campaign during a divorce. It's a little bit different than the normal, smear campaign that a narcissist will use. In the midst of a divorce, it's like ramped up to a whole nother level, because what happens is they start using information and stuff like that against you to get what they want in court. If you have kids, primarily what that's going to be is custody. What can they do to basically destroy you so that they get the kids and you don't? Think about it. The kids are, okay, if you were a really good narcissistic supply and if you were married for a long time, then you were. That's you fit that role to a T. And we'll talk about that a little bit later at a different episode, but just briefly think about it. If you look at it, you were their supply. Okay? The only thing left right now for that is the kids. Now, if they're looking for other people to get their supply, then maybe that might change this. But if they want the kids and they want to deny you access to the kids, this is kind of what you're going to be dealing with the smear campaign on steroids, as I like to call it. Okay, first things first, they're not going to fight fair. They will use everything against you that they possibly can. So, even things out of context, it'll be used. What they'll also do is, while they're trying to destroy you, they will be lying to you, basically, like, why don't you trust me? All I've ever tried to do is be nice, stuff like that. Because they're trying to suck you back in, make you let down your guard while they're trying to basically destroy you on the other end. One of the things, when you get lawyers involved, they're working for whoever's paying them, and they're going to take whatever information that they're given and run with it. So and guys, this is whether it's a guy or a girl, okay? A guy doing the same thing might try to say that you're. I don't know. I'm trying to think of stuff. They can accuse you of doing drugs. They can accuse you of being a bad person or whatever. Trying to say, well, you shouldn't be around the kids because of X, because of whatever thing happened in the past, whatever's currently happening now, whatever they can spin to make it seem like you are just the most horrible thing in the world. Now, if you've looked at other narcissistic type stuff, that's the same techniques that are used, typically, right? But then it's used with family and friends and, maybe even with employers and stuff, which that's all bad. But when it rolls into the court system, it's a little more intense because there's a lot hanging on, laying on the line. And depending on what the judges or decides, is going to have an impact on your life. So this is an incredibly stressful time. So this is where they'll start also using other techniques like the gaslighting and trying to basically set you up. Bottom line, don't take the bait. Don't fall for it. Don't react. If they're trying to set you up as being an out of control emotional person, and then they're pushing your buttons, bink, bink, bink. They're pushing your buttons, trying to get you to respond. Now, in this situation, during the middle of a divorce, if you do respond in a negative way and they can use that, and I guarantee you they will try to use it. If you do anything that they can say, see, he's a big scary guy and I need a restraining order, or the other flip side, it's just, well, just making things up, okay? All of that is to try to evoke a response. They'll change the visitation schedule on you. It'll be going along, like divorces take a long time anyways, but you'll be going along and you'll have an understood schedule. And then they'll switch it. They'll change it up. And, if you respond negatively, if you get mad or angry or scary, then think about it. What they could do is they could turn around and say, oh, well, see, I'm doing that because they're scary and they're doing this, and I'm having to respond. Just don't take the bait. I know it's stressful. I know that it's going to make you mad. Deal with your attorney on it. Try to remain as calm as possible. The thing is, they're going to try to get you to respond in a way that they have already said you will, right? If they're trying to paint the picture that you are out of control, and the same thing. If a guy's trying to do that, he can push the buttons on the mom and start doing whatever, making you feel like you're never going to get to see your kids again. I'm going to take everything away from you. Whatever. It's the same type of stuff. Now, if you fall for that and you start getting really stressed and anxious and stuff like that, you could do something. If you're a woman, you could do something that the guy could turn around and say, oh, see, they're a scary, out of control person too. It's all a tactic, okay? So the first thing, don't let your fear control you, okay? And I get that it's tough. I get it, because you're in the middle of it and you're thinking, oh my God, okay, so take it. I can talk from my perspective as a guy. What does everyone always say? Well, guys don't get custody. Guys always get, they get screwed over and they lose everything. The system's stacked against them, so they're not gonna get anything. So if you're going in and that's what people are telling you, and then you see your ex basically making up these stories about you, about how horrible you are, or you know what, even taking something out of context. Let's say, think about it. If a relationship's breaking down, the stress level is going through the roof anyways. So, maybe there's a possibility that you did respond, you did yell, and you did scream, and you did, as long as you didn't hit anybody and you didn't, do anything, over the, domestic violence type. If you had those issues, even if you were provoked, you're going to have to get that under control. But bottom line is if you've been pushed and, responded negatively, then there might be a little basis of truth on that. But the thing is, the thing that you need to remember is everyone involved in the divorce system, they understand that, okay? What that means is the judges see this all day long, right? They have to sit in the courthouse all day, at least on the days that they're doing divorce court, and listen to two sides bash each other, two sides trying to say that both person is a monster, and they're going to have to listen to it, but they also know that most of it, in my opinion, they know most of it's bullshit. That they realize that it's just not, maybe there's a little bit of truth, but there's not a lot of truth. Now, if you do anything to respond, if you do anything that validates what those concerns are, then that changes it into a whole different thing, which when you're divorcing a narcissist, that's what the goal is going to be. The goal is going to be to get you to get off track, to get you to spin out, to do something that they can point to and say, aha, see right here, this is what I'm talking about, right here what they did. So you have to keep yourself calm and not take the bait. And understand that the court systems understand it. Now, it's not, it's like a mutual assured destruction, in my opinion, on the court systems. Nobody is really going to win unless you do something really stupid or you respond negatively or whatever. If you can maintain your calm and you can maintain your composure and you can be professional and you can approach it in a semi-positive way, considering the circumstances, they're going to see through it. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to be easy. That does not mean that the first time you go to court, they're going to go, "Oh, this is BS." It's going to go. It is going to be an ongoing thing. And if you have money to fight it, and she has money to fight it, or you're paying for it, or whatever, it's probably going to go that way. But just try to calm yourself down. Stay as stable as you possibly can, and hopefully you have a good attorney. In this situation, you don't really need, if you're divorcing a narcissist, you do not need a shark attorney, in my opinion, because all that's going to do is exacerbate the situation. You don't need that. What you need is somebody who understands the process, understands the judges and who they're working with, and can navigate it in a positive way. Because if you're trying to divorce a narcissistic personality person, you're not going to be able to reason with them. The only time what's going to happen is when you run out of money and the attorney isn't getting paid anymore, primarily on the other side, then things will start changing because there's no money left to be collected. So, and I don't mean that in a negative way. I'm just saying that's kind of, it is what it is, okay? So, but the main thing you need to remember is, don't let your fear get the best of you, and don't let it control you, okay? You have to remain as calm as you possibly can. That is your best defense on this. That's the best defense. And what I'll say on that is, at one point in my situation, I had, my attorney had there were some other, interesting allegations flying around, potentially flying around, that, they're like, look, it just, no one's going to believe it. You can't get this far into the process, and then you start making up other things. And even if it is true, it's in context. It doesn't even. I guess what I'm saying is, if you already started down the road, you've moved out, you're not there, and then it's like, oh well, but he did this, and they did this, and they did this. It's like, okay, well, are they doing it now, right? That, anyways. So I guess in some ways, you can ask yourself, well, is there any truth to what's being said? And what I mean by that, I don't necessarily mean is, can you take some little sliver of whatever story they're fabricating and say a piece of it is true? That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, what I'm saying is the picture that they're painting of you accurate? Is that who you are? Okay? If the answer is no, relax. Because it's not who you are, and it's going to come out. The other thing is remember that narcissists have an excellent ability to project their issues onto other people. So sometimes those accusations aren't necessarily directed at, they're directed at you, but they could also just be what they're thinking of themselves and projecting towards you. So bottom line is, remain calm. Take some deep breaths. Make sure you get as much distance as you possibly can, and you do everything that you need to do to keep yourself in a good space. Okay, so to kind of wrap this up, and I think the main key on this is, remember that everybody understands, right? Everybody who's in this process, they dealt with it before. everyone, it's like even in a standard divorce, even if it's not got all this extra, baggage and extra problems, and probably most of them do, because if a relationship breaks down, there's all kinds of issues on it, and if there's, that's a different, that's a totally different topic. Anyways, whatever. What I'm saying is they deal with it, right? They know. I had a conversation with a friend of mine who was a cop, and he was talking about, one parent. I think the father had moved out, and he was filing a complaint saying that the kids were living in squalor. And his comment was, whenever the other, the cop that was at the scene called him up and said, hey, what am I supposed to do with this? This house is a disaster. And he said, the question he asked the guy, he says, hey, ask him when's their divorce hearing? And he's like, hey, when's your next date? And it was in a couple of weeks. And it's like they knew that all that was to try to get an edge up during the divorce proceedings that were coming up. So, bottom line is, don't take the bait. Don't play that game. Don't let it emotionally deregulate you. Don't let it, completely stress you out. And I know that's easier said than done. But just know that, the system is set up. I mean, the system, I don't want to say set up that way, but you do, let me back up. You do need a good attorney that can help protect you, okay? You need to make sure that you don't make any mistakes. I mean, think of it like the most important job interview, everything that you do on it, okay? Anytime you go to court, anytime you talk to a custody evaluator, anytime you're dealing with all those people, it's like a job interview, okay? You need to make sure that you are putting your best foot forward on that and that you don't make any mistakes. And it's tough. I mean, it's tough when you're sitting there and another attorney is saying that you don't care about your kids and all you care about is money and you never cared about the kids. Mr. So-and-so never cared about the kids. And, all they've ever known is the, whatever, the mom. I mean, and I mean, okay, honestly, guys, if you have really young kids and they're not in school and you have a stay-at-home mom and you work, you ain't gonna get full custody. You're not. It's the likelihood of that is like zero unless something significant has happened with the mother. I mean, the same thing. If you're a working woman and the dad is a stay-at-home dad and you're in the same boat, you're really you got to be realistic in what you're looking at. Now, in my situation, my kids were already in school, so that whole stay-at-home mom thing didn't necessarily fly because they were going to school. Okay, they're older. They're not 2, so. Anyways, so on that, the main thing is to remember is if you're dealing with somebody who's narcissistic, who's maybe a covert narcissist, they are going to pull everything out of the closet. If you've been married, for however long you've been married, just take to the bank that if you were married 20 years and you said something or did something 19 years ago that somehow helps their position now, it's coming up. Actually, I had that happen. It was pretty, in retrospect, it was kind of funny. It was, what was it? It was saying something that I had, whatever, an issue that would be damaging to our daughters, and she was scared that because of something I said, 19 years before, that I mean, it's in retrospect, it's like funny. I mean, it's like, wow, really, I mean, and then you got a person sitting there, well, 20 years ago you said this. Oh, okay. Wow. Yeah, you know what? 20 years ago I did think that. I hadn't thought about that for 20 years. 20 years. Anyways, and it's not a laughing matter. I mean, because when you're in the middle of it, it's like, are you kidding me? And you're frustrated and you're stressed. But think about it. That's what the point is. They're trying to get you to respond a certain way. They're trying to push your buttons. They're trying to use everything they possibly can. If they think, if they know that the kids are important to you, then they'll probably try to do everything to make sure that you don't get it, because, they want to punish you. Or it's just because they need a narcissistic supply. And kids are, unfortunately, a great source of it, because they learn how to survive in that environment. Okay. Bottom line is, just to kind of re-summarize this again, because I keep kind of going off on a tangent. Remain as calm as possible. Realize what's going on. They're trying to push your buttons. They are trying to get you to respond in a negative way. They are trying to have you do something that validates what, the stories they're trying to say. Just don't do it. Just don't allow yourself to do it. If you, and hey guys, if you have issues with anger management and you can't control it, go take a course on how to deal with it. Go get a therapist to tell you, to work with you on how to control your temper, to control your anger, whatever it is. If you know you have a problem, do something right now to make it better, to get control of it. You need to do that anyways to be a better person, and be a better father, or if you're a mother, be a better mother. You've got to take a step back and do what you need to do to take care of yourself and ultimately be able to take care of your kids. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that this whole divorce thing is going to work out in your favor. And you're going to have to fight. You're going to have to get in there and find, to figure out what's important and stand up for it. But if you're a guy, let me just say something. If you are a guy and you fall into the normal trap where, the mom gets the kids and I'll just be the weekend dad, don't do it. Unless that's absolutely what you want, don't do it. Don't do it. Because if you establish that right off the bat, and maybe you're thinking, and and you could have good motives for doing it. You could basically be like, I want to keep things as calm as possible. I don't want to, I want to make it as easy as possible for the kids. That way they can just, stay there most of the time, and then they'll just see me. If you're doing it for that reason, don't do it. Because if you do that, and then you realize later that you are dealing with a narcissist, and then you start realizing that things that are happening aren't really in the best interest of the kids, you have just put yourself at a huge disadvantage, and going back and trying to say that you want something different is going to be nearly impossible. It's going to cost you a ton of money, and even then, if your kids aren't saying that they want to spend more time with you and they want to live with you or something like that, it ain't going to happen. And remember this, if you are dealing with a narcissist, they are a master at manipulation and control and all of that stuff. So what do you think the likelihood, if you're trying to convince, even if your kid is telling you that they want to spend more time with you, when they are under that spell, when it comes down to it and they go talk to, the judge, are they really going to say that they want to change what's already in place? Probably not. So fight for it in the beginning, get everything you can get everything that you're entitled to at the beginning. And that goes for the same thing. If you're the mom and you're trying to deal with it, and if you know that the father is has these narcissistic personality issues and are damaging to the kids, then do everything you need to do to fight for that as well. It's because once it's established, once that visitation is established, trying to change it is going to be a nightmare and very expensive. So anyways, again, don't take the bait. Understand that the system knows, they hear people complaining about everyone all the time, so they take it with a grain of salt. So even if you are being slammed or smeared. So this, as long as you're being a victim of a smear campaign, as long as you're not doing anything to validate that, then you're okay. I mean, if they're saying that you're out of control and you're emotionally unstable, and you go to court and you do something like that in front of the judge, you're done. If they're saying stuff like that, and at a soccer game you get you get mad and you raise your voice and you block their access to their car, which I didn't do. I had heard of this happening to another friend of mine. You're probably gonna have a problem, and if so just understand it. Just take a step back. This isn't the today battle you're fighting. This is a long-term battle that you're fighting. So, and the same thing, if you're a mom. I mean, if you're a mom and you're dealing with somebody who falls into this category, the last thing I think I'll leave you with is they always show their true colors. A narcissist always shows their colors, right? And I think early on I knew that, but I didn't trust it. And had I trusted that, and just let it take its course, I would have been a hell of a lot calmer. I would have been in a better position to help my kids, and I wouldn't have got so stressed out during a lot of this stuff. Okay, so I'm gonna wrap this up. If you're dealing with this and you've had some of these experiences, share, if you want to, share in the comments below on how you've dealt with it, what it's meant to you. If this video has helped you at all, or if you're relating to it, hopefully, you're getting those epiphanies. You're getting those, oh my God, this is what I'm going through. Wow, that's exactly what I need to. That's spot on. That's kind of what the hope. That's what my whole hope for this channel has been. So if that's the case, give me a thumbs up. If you're liking these videos, give it a subscribe, and just do everything you can to keep yourself calm. Don't take the bait. Don't fall for it. Don't fall for the gaslighting. Learn as much as you can so that you can recognize it, so that you can say, oh, I know what's going on, and keep yourself calm. Okay, on that, I'm going to wrap this up, and I will talk to you guys on the next one. So take care. Bye.